Hey everyone, my name is Nick Fuller, and in today's video, I'm going to teach you how to find your startup idea. On this channel, we talk about startups, SaaS, entrepreneurship, side hustles, high performance. So if you like this kind of content, give me a thumbs up. Be sure to subscribe for more videos like this. All right, so in today's video, like I mentioned, we're talking about how to find your startup idea. So I've gone through this a few times now and have really broken this out into two different ways to find your startup idea. So the first way is what I call a lived experience. And the second is you're looking for that idea. So watch the whole video to understand the difference between the lived versus looking, as well as my tips at the end of this video to really make this a simple process for you. So first, we'll talk about what do I mean by the lived experience. So for a lot of entrepreneurs who get started, they actually come from this industry and experience the problem that they're solving firsthand. So they have really deep experience understanding what the biggest challenge is in front of them, what are they trying to solve for here. And so that'll typically look like when you see someone, say like a Zoom founder, he came from the video conferencing world, really thought there was a better way to solve for this, deeply understood what that space looked like, and then really wanted to make changes, put his own spin on that. You'll see this in a lot of other industries as well. The founder of Bumble, she came from Tinder, really understood what that industry looked like, understood the challenges of it, and really wanted to solve this a different way. So you also see that in smaller size businesses as well. Maybe I come from a project management experience, project management background, and I can't find a tool that solved this problem for me that I'm really looking for. And so what that'll look like is you go out into the market, you have this problem, and you can't find anything today that's solving that problem for you. And from there, that's when you jump in and say, okay, if no one else is solving this, then I'm going to solve this myself. And so that's really what that lived experience looks like when it comes to starting a business or being an entrepreneur in that space. And so if you have that lived experience, you generally have deep knowledge of the industry. You know how big the problem is. You know this is a problem that should be solved, and you've talked to colleagues and they're looking for something to actually solve this problem as well. And you have a lot of contacts in this industry to help you validate this idea and say, hey, I'm looking to do this. I'm building a solution for this, even if you're not building it yet, but you tell them that so you can really gauge their understanding and need for this kind of product as well. Would you pay for something like this? And if you have that industry experience, you really know what's going on there, then you're able to quickly get feedback to iterate on, say, yep, this is something worth pursuing. Yes, others have this problem. And you know exactly what needs to be solved to work through this. And so if you have that lived experience, really first, before you start that business, think inside and say, what am I good at? What do I know? What am I solving for here? What do I have a unique kind of viewpoint on that others don't, that I already understand? And that's really the first place you should look for inspirations in your business ideas. So that's our lived experience. The next side is you're looking for a problem to solve. That's really where kind of my background comes in, is thinking through what problem can I solve for someone. My lived experience, implementation consultant, go-to-market strategy, already a lot of tools out there, and really trying to branch out and say what else is in the world that I can help solve for. So if you're someone who has a background in building product, who really wants to build a company but don't really care or have deep industry knowledge on where that is, then this next half is going to apply really well to you when you're looking for this problem to solve. So I'm going to break down how to look for that problem, how to validate that early on, and how to know this is the right problem to start tackling here. So keep watching to see all those tips here. So the first area is making sure you have the right background to go look for problems. Oftentimes you'll find folks who are trying to start companies that have no experience in what I'd probably call the big three. No experience or network in building software. You don't have to be a programmer to build software, but you need to know someone, you need to know what good software looks like, you need to know what web pages should do if you are to farm this out to an agency, say on Upwork or Fiverr. Strong marketing background, know how to take an idea and promote it, Now you can learn all of this online, go watch some YouTube videos, but if you're able to draw interest, get up some landing pages, drive traffic to that, then you're able to quickly validate those ideas, or have a great network. That's what I have. I have a very strong network of folks who are very specialized in a lot of these different areas. So able to bring people to the table to get buy-in into those ideas to really then go to market against those. So that's kind of the first characteristic. You need to figure out what's unique about you. What can you bring to the table here? The next is really thinking about not a specific problem to solve, but what industry do you want to solve problems for? And that's kind of the big thing that I've stumbled along with is, hey, I have a great idea. I think, at least what I think is a great idea, but does that industry really think that's a big enough problem to solve for and ultimately pay you money for? And so when you think about picking an industry, there's all sorts of advice on, pick the one with the biggest TAM, what's the biggest go-to-market, what's the next upcoming industry. If you're looking for a side hustle SaaS business, really just an industry that you can get excited about, that you're easier to talk to and reach out and make connections in, is what you want to look for. Ultimately, I don't think the idea matters. I don't think really the industry matters. I think it's more about, can you put the time and effort to find one that fits for you? So when you pick an industry, this is when you want to go out and start asking people what problems are out there that you want to solve for. And what that looks like in practice, and what I've gone through and what you'll find if you go through this as well, is you're generally going to have some sort of idea that you want to pitch and reach out to someone with. And when you do that, typically what you'll do is you'll either scrape LinkedIn, send a bunch of LinkedIn messages. This is where a sales background comes in really well. If you have great outreach, I have some really great LinkedIn email templates. So if you want to see those, leave a comment below. I'll be sure to link those out if there's interest there. LinkedIn outreach, send messages, scrape websites, ask your friends and family if they know anyone in these different industries to go reach out. Look at your network of past companies you worked for and see if anyone is in this role that you're looking to validate an idea in. So first, have a general idea, maybe just something that comes to mind. Reach out and say, hey, I am looking to solve problems in this industry. I have an idea I'd love to run past you for 15 minutes. Can you spare the time? And what we found more often than not, most people will say yes. People want to feel valued. They want to feel like their opinion matters, which it absolutely does. And we want to be able to feel like they're contributing and helping others. So you'll find a lot of people say yes and want to give feedback on your idea. So the next part is probably the most critical. So this is where you need to pay attention on how to then figure out what problems are there really to solve. So when you get into this conversation, I like to do this on video since we're all remote right now. Use Google Hangouts. I have a whole other video on the best technology to use for your startup software. I'll post it up here. When you get into that video conference, open up, say, hey, I really appreciate your time. This is my partner, this is me, this is our background, this is what we're doing. We're looking for problems to solve in this industry for folks like you. So what we're thinking is we want to solve XYZ problem. And this is the reason why. Does this problem resonate with you? So that's the question. Does this problem resonate with you? And sit back and let them talk. Let them think. Let them express themselves. This is when you're going to gain a lot of insight. So we found this when we're looking to plan some return to office software is, hey, yeah, this is the problem we're trying to solve. And a lot of the feedback was, yep, we've thought about that. We're actually using these other service providers to do this. So we validated there's a problem there, but has this problem already been solved? And is it worth our time to chase down? So once we got that feedback, we've gone through 10 minutes, 15 minutes of conversation. We've gone through our checklist of questions that we want to ask them. The last part, this is probably the biggest thing you can ask is, well, I really appreciate your time. Is there anything else in your day-to-day that's kind of a hair on fire problem that you would love for somebody to solve for you? I have the technical background. I'd love to solve this, any sort of problems you're having. and sit back and let them think, let them just lay out all the problems they have. And more likely than not, they will. Take notes, start to think about and formulate, what are they asking, what problems are there, and then in your next conversation with another prospect, now go pitch that prospect on that next idea and say, hey, I've talked to someone else and they have this same problem. Do you also have this problem? And if they say yes, okay, now that's two. Now we're starting to see a trend. And do that 5, 6, 7, 8 times until you get enough people saying, yeah, that's actually a problem I'm facing as well. That would be interesting. I'd love to hear more about that. Great. That's a good start to getting validation on the idea. Take that feedback. At the end of the call, say, hey, I'd love to bother you in a few weeks to give you an update on my progress. Would you mind if I did that? Most folks will say, yeah, feel free to reach out. Happy to help anytime. And then in that follow-up reach out, now you can recenter the conversation around, this is the new idea that I'm working on. I've actually built an MVP, whatever process in the stage that you're in. So that's how you really quickly start to narrow down what problems are out there to solve, how can you validate those ideas, and how can you find the right folks in the industry to ask and work with you on those ideas. So I'll do a quick recap here. We talked about the lived experience versus the looking problem solver. If you have this lived experience, you know what problems are in your industry and what solutions are out there to solve those. Now, do you have the background to go solve those? Do you have the network to do that? That's kind of where you need to figure out, and I'm happy to help you figure that out as well. The other side is you're a problem solver looking for a problem. You'll pick the industry. Now you'll go ask folks in that industry, what are those problems you're trying to solve? And then from there, you can narrow down, iterate on what the right idea is to go spend your time on. So if you like this kind of content, please give me a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel here.